Grateful and unsuspecting, she continued her way. It wasn't until later, prompted by a nagging intuition, that she checked her purse, only to discover the significant loss. The police are now investigating this act of deception, urging all citizens to remain vigilant in crowded public spaces. In international news, Czech police say 10 people have been killed and dozens injured in a shooting at a university in central Prague. Police say the gunman has been eliminated and that the building is being evacuated. Reports suggest that the incident occurred at Charles University, located on Jan Palanch Square. University staff were told to stay put, barricade themselves in rooms and turn off the lights, Reuters reported. A British-Australian man who was staying in a flat near the scene tells the BBC that he heard a lot of gunshots. Prime Minister Fiala says he has cancelled upcoming engagements in light of the tragic events. Well, that's it. News on the hour on WESN. I am Sarah Ali. Thank you for watching.
Let the Home Store turn your house into a home you love. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. And just for you this Christmas, come check us out for great gift ideas and all your Christmas decorations.
6 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at West Mall, Pennywise Plaza Chaguanas, C3 Center Branch, Christmas Store at C3 San Fernando and Eastgate Mall, Trin City.
Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
WESN.
Simon's Musical Supplies Limited. We are the specialist in new and used musical instruments, carrying top brands like Yamaha, Pearl River pianos, vinyl and Sabian cymbals, Remo and Evans drumheads and Fender guitars, just to name a few. Also a wide assortment of music books, pan and accessories. At Simon's, we service what we sell. Trust the leader. Call us now at 625-6412 or visit us at 20 Board Street, Port of Spain.
WESN.
Welcome, valued viewers, to Talking Point on WESN, and a Merry Christmas to all of you at home here on Sister I with me, or abroad, our fellows across the world tuning in. Talking Point on WESN, your content capital, the premier platform for Caribbean content. Believe it. Now, we do have something to get into. Was not planned, but thanks to my colleague and co-host, Mr. Keaton Shah, for cluing me in on this. I'm not entirely sure if our local media has fully been able to digest or report on this, but the Prime Minister's Facebook page, as well as multiple international publications, have reported that Shell and Trinidad and Tobago and the NGC, of course, have been able to strike a deal with Venezuela. Minister of Energy Stuart Young, he is seen in pictures signing the agreement with the Venezuelan oil minister Pedro Teche. The Venezuelan oil minister. I believe that happened yesterday evening. And basically, the deal, at least with regards to Venezuela's end, has been approved. There might still be some technical details or business details from Shell's end, and I'm not entirely too sure that might have to be worked out overall. But the deal is more or less reached a new stage. Of course, then all the technical matters have to be worked out. The pipeline actually needs to be laid, and operations then can begin to commence for us to extract the gas from the Dragon field. This is reportedly, potentially, the first commercial project of Venezuela's utilizing natural gas. I'm not entirely sure how true that is. I do know that natural gas was not necessarily a priority for Venezuela for some time. It was oil. But there it is. So far, so good. Territorial disputes notwithstanding, Venezuelan elections, and depending on how they turn out, notwithstanding international politics and relations with the US and our requirement to have both. Now we have a license to do this deal regardless of whatever the sanctions are, or a license. I mean, it's a hell of a thing, right? Permission from the US, and then we actually have a proper business commercial license relationship with Venezuela. So this might mean that we're on track to get natural gas in a couple of years, as opposed to waiting and hoping when we could see progress, definitive progress. But we're not completely, as I've been warning, guaranteed of this production yet. We're not completely out of the woods. The problems have not been completely solved. But it is, at the end of the day, good news. Just before Christmas, is this the Prime Minister's and the Minister of Energy's Christmas gift to the country? I mean, it's not a bad gift, but dare I be one of those spoiled children that might have been looking for more than just the oil and gas gift? What about the diversification gift? But anyway, enough about that. Now, let's actually start off today's Daily Review. And a further update with an ongoing story. Of course, most of you should know of the shooting that occurred last Sunday at a certain retail furniture outlet that involved an off-duty police officer. Now, the reports are that that off-duty police officer has been arrested to be questioned or to assist investigators in the investigation. It has not been said if he's being charged yet. The process is still going to have to continue. If there's enough if it reaches whatever burden of proof they have in order to lay charges, then it seems they are going through that process to make that determination. Right now, they say investigations at a delicate stage. To some extent, I guess, you know, it is, there is more to be determined than just the nature of the shooting. There's also probably other facts with regards to what the shooter may have said, what reports he may have put in, how truthful those reports in, as well as questions with regards to what did his status as a policeman play into this situation. Now, they still haven't necessarily given us the info of whether he is a member of the TTPS, whether he's a special reserve police officer, whether he is a municipal police officer, etc., etc. But generally speaking, this, with regards to the shooting, it should not be any more complex than any other murder investigation, because, and again, murder investigation doesn't mean conviction, right? Investigation, that's what it's expected. Suspected of being, I think that's a reasonable statement to make, or at least that's being looked into. But at the end of the day, this is not an extrajudicial killing. This is not a police officer doing his duties. This is technically an individual acting in his private capacity. So it's important to remember that it colors the case. Unfortunately, and I think this is something that we need to understand. Even our politicians don't always understand it, or they understand it when it's convenient, a la when they could use it to browbeat somebody else who might be behaving in a manner that is not justifiable. But if they do it, no. I have right to my privacy. And that's what I'm talking about. When you reach a certain position, your public behavior unfortunately reflects on your organization. And to some extent, it will happen for most of us, you know, especially the higher up you are, if those who are managers of a business, executives of a big corporation, you reflect your personal behavior to some extent reflects that behavior which is revealed to the public. And this is very true with elected politicians, and to some extent for all police officers, as much as you might be off duty. So yes, there's a certain amount of allowance, he's off duty, he's a private individual, he deserves some privacy, but how you interact with the public at large, even in your private capacity, could still impact the TTPS. That is just the reality of the situation. Because nobody wants a police officer who may or may not, you know, be engaging in unethical or immoral private behavior. Regardless of, well, you know, it might still be legal to some extent, although in this case, we have ventured to the realm now of where the legality is being questioned. So just some thoughts to remind people. Moving on to the next story quick, connected to the first one, and that is the Trinidad and Tobago Police Services Social and Welfare Association's president, Gideon Dixon. He has come out to voice his concerns over the National Security Council's review. And it's interesting because I believe in all of this. First of all, the word review, I guess you could say, is a loaded word, right? It assumes that included in the review would be to determine if changes are necessary. That is one of the, I guess you could say, definitions of the word review, right? With the intention of instituting change if necessary. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to institute change. When people do reviews of works of art or what have you, it's not with the intention of getting the writer or director to change it. Now, of course, that example I'm give there, that's very far from the situation that we're at. So take that a little bit with a grain of salt. But I think the key thing is, though, that I understand where the president of the Social and Welfare Association is coming from. I do. Right? The thing is, one of the things that's kind of not being mentioned when people make comments about about the issues they have with the National Security Council making review on police procedure, is that technically what was said was laws and regulations and practices around the operations of the CTPS. Because I do believe that in one of the reports, the association president is concerned about inefficient laws that then contribute to spiraling crime. And so if that's the case, we have a situation now where a police officer may or may not be doing something that may or may not be illegal, right? Don't want to pass premature judgment. When the criticisms of the review comes up, it doesn't mention the fact that one of the things they're doing is reviewing the laws. And at the end of the day, the Commissioner of Police has no authority over the laws that surround police operations. So that's one interesting aspect of the criticisms. They forget the first part of the statement and they move quick to the second part. Now, one of the other things that the president of the Social Welfare Association is saying is he's warning against removing the private firearms for off-duty police officers, right? And on one hand, I understand it. On the other hand, he is saying, look, gangsters are coming in with rifles with 5.56 and 7.62 ammunition. Now, technically speaking, a pistol, you're already undergunned in that situation, right? So your argument has a little bit of an uphill struggle there. But the principle of it does remain the same in the sense that we have seen individuals in law enforcement be targeted in various capacities. For whatever reason, usually it's revolving around prison officers, whether it's the Deputy Commissioner of Police, or I believe in one instance a prison officer was killed in the street. And the need for officers to be able to protect themselves because of the higher chance that there won't just be victims of crime, but rather violent crime specifically directed at them. I understand his concerns. The problem is that benefits, I don't know if I should say right? It could be, how to put it, that perk, but it might be a necessity. It still comes with responsibility. To some extent, one would think that a police officer, I mean, you're authorized to carry a firearm for the state. So how much issues should the state have with police officers then having their own private firearms, right? It should not be that there's a police officer that is disqualified from a private FUL, but could be armed and act as an agent for the state with a firearm. So, okay, they should be able to get it with that privileged, almost privilege. It comes with a responsibility. And if that privilege is misused in any way, is abused in any way, then to some extent now, Mr. Dixon, I think the government does have the right to consider the benefits are being heavily outweighed by the costs. And if more situations like this happen, if it turns out to be what we fear it to be, if the claims of the family turn out to be more or less true or anywhere around that ballpark, if the officer involved, off-duty officer involved, is shown to have acted inappropriately that led to the death of 2 individuals, if more things like that happens, I don't know if your argument could hold weight, because yes, police officers would still be in danger, potentially, and other officers of the Ministry of National Security. But if the cost outweighs the benefits, I'm sorry. Now is a responsibility for the association to step in and to help leadership informally with regards to trying to clean up the act of its own members, because if members act irresponsibly, you can't blame people then for having to put other things in place that you don't like. It's your members now. I would imagine it's your members. All right, running ahead to the next stories. I found this ironic. The Minister of National Security he has been reported to have basically assured individuals that the foreign cricket teams are being secured. Security has been beefed up with regards to their safety. And the reason why I find it somewhat funny is that not too long ago, there was a situation in the Senate where the opposition wanted to bring that up as a question, and for whatever reason, the Minister of National Security was not here to field national security questions. It was being answered by, I believe, Dr. Amy Brown, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Minister of Finance. And the Minister of Finance scoffed. He said, I was just astonished at that last supplemental about a cricket team. And here comes the Minister of National Security, and he's giving assurances that, yes, I spoke with the Commissioner of Police, and they're getting, beefed up security. And I'm just like, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. Now, to be fair, the Minister of National Security is doing the right thing. I mean, oh gosh, at the end of the day, it's not a big thing, it's not a big deal, right? But to some extent, this has reached the foreign press. You don't want to then now come and look like if you're ignoring the situation and you're downplaying the situation. But it goes back to my criticisms earlier. Why is it that in the Senate, government wanted to kind of downplay this thing like if it was a non-factor? It was almost like if they didn't realize a foreign sports team might make foreign news, especially if it's circumstances around high crime that the team itself has concerns about for them. So on one hand, kudos for the, I guess, quick change in policy, unofficial as policy as it may be, or stance. Maybe stance is the better way to put it, not policy, stance. But come on, in the moment, I mean, some of you parliamentarians there on the government bench should be far more experienced than that, than to fall for such an easy layup, or rather to give the opposition such an easy layup. I'm surprised they didn't capitalize on it more. Next story. This is somewhat concerning, although, to be fair, this is something that I think was only a matter of time. The Chief Secretary, he's come out and he has concerns over gang violence and gang culture being spread to Tobago. This is after the 12th and 13th murder, which, as the record was set more or less the day of, by 1 a.m., the record was, further padded. One of those two murders there that night was a gang member, a known gang member. The other one is believed to be, unfortunately, someone in the wrong place at the wrong time in the line of fire, collateral damage, what have you. The thing is, or rather my question is this a sign that gang activity is now going to start to happen, and maybe it has already, on the Sister Isle? And when I say gang activity, I don't mean some kind of local whatever to Tobago, but rather a larger gang activity that is national, that goes beyond just a certain neighborhood, a certain block, a certain subsection of Trinidad itself. Because to some extent now, one could also have concerns that the gangs, say East Port of Spain, East-West Corridor, whatever, what have you, right, could be filtering down not just to Tobago, but throughout Trinidad as well. It's not to say that they had a presence everywhere. The thing is, criminals have been known to hide out in Tobago when the heat in Trinidad is up. They go to Tobago. People in Tobago might not necessarily know them by their parents, by name, etc., etc. So it's not as though there's a lot of people who could point fingers. Hey, I saw this guy here. And they'll go there, they'll hide out from the law. That's what I know, 10 years ago plus, right? I didn't hear that they were actually operating. So could it be that he was hiding and they actually chased him all the way to Tobago to find him, to kill him? Or are two gangs now operating in Tobago and they're going to bring and entrench potentially the culture of violence? Because I think Tobago is probably not necessarily, not ready for that just yet, because they haven't had to deal with it. It's just the norm, right? We don't know how effective gang violence would be, gang activity would be there. Maybe the police might have an easy time, kind of roping them all up, because many of them might be outsiders to the communities. But I think the Chief Secretary's fears are valid. This changing dynamic, we don't know how it will unfold, and it's interesting to see what could be done. This is a slightly unique situation. Last story. There have been issues with the food card program. Now, from what I understand, there's both the ongoing food card program month to month, as well as a special delivery or a special food cards, which apparently they've had issues with giving out some of these cards that they weren't working at the point of sale, which, of course, imagine now some people might be embarrassed having to use food cards, not all, but now then on top of that, you run the risk of you do your grocery shopping, you get all your goods, you put it on the counter, and then the food card doesn't work, and you have to, leave it there for someone else to pack. It's probably not a good feeling. The Minister of Social Development, she has more or less said that, look, there will be special food cards available for members of Parliament to collect who have not yet received it. This is a special tranche, $550 each. I believe it's $200 per MP for all 41 MPs for Christmas. It's now available. It's not. This is a later article in one daily newspaper compared to the others, but it doesn't necessarily say whether or not the technical issues with the cards, which seem to be a bank issue with the government's bank, as it was reported to have been First Citizens Bank. But hopefully that's being worked on. But the cards will be distributed. Opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissess, on the other hand, she has complaints over the situation because she's complaining about the number of cards, saying that there's just more people in need. And here's where I might have an issue with the opposition leader, because on some level, giving out too much freeness will just encourage people to take advantage of it and to not work themselves. So I get it, I understand there's a lot of need, but also, if we spend all of our money on these sorts of things, I don't know, we have long-term issues that needs to be solved. So I appreciate that, yes, there are pressing needs, opposition leader, but it is what it is. I think things like this should be for those who absolutely need it. Not everybody who applies for it absolutely needs it. But of course, that gets into a whole lot of digging now, and we'll leave that for the people involved. Folks, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue conversations here on Talking Points. Stay tuned.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
It comes naturally to us. Unstoppable energy. We use it to manifest a future. A future where energy takes new forms and is used in new ways for all of us. The new age of energy is here.
Let the home store turn your house into a home you love. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. And just for you this Christmas, come check us out for great gift ideas and all your Christmas decorations.
6 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at West Mall, Pennywise Plaza Chaguanas, C3 Center Branch, Christmas Store at C3 San Fernando, and Eastgate Mall, Trin City.
Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
It comes naturally to us. Unstoppable energy. We use it to manifest a future. A future where energy takes new forms and is used in new ways for all of us. The new age of energy is here.
Let the home store turn your house into a home you love. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. And just for you this Christmas, come check us out for great gift ideas and all your Christmas decorations.
6 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at West Mall, Pennywise Plaza Chaguanas, C3 Center Branch, Christmas Store at C3 San Fernando, and Eastgate Mall, Trin City.
Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
Welcome back to Talking Point, ladies and gentlemen, and I am joined by my colleagues with an S for this, the last episode of Talking Point before Christmas, because this is the season of giving. So I give to you Mr. Keaton Shaw and Mrs. Janelle John Bates. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. Keaton, you didn't tell me I needed to put on my Christmas hat.
Apparently, nobody got the memo except me.
That's because there was no memo, Keaton. There was no memo.
Y'all are just messing with me now. Good morning, Janelle. Good morning, Sean. Merry Christmas.
I mean, I'm in a slightly festive, colors, and so is Janelle, we got a little bit of...
I chose red purposely for the season.
Yes.
Oh, you sure it's not red for something else? It's just for the season?
Oh, Lord. Don't bring that hair into... This is the non-political part of the show, Keaton.
Hello.
Non-political part
I am wearing red as well, okay? Good? See? I'm wearing red as well.
You're red and ready for Christmas?
Of course, I'm red and ready for Christmas.
Okay. Well, folks, Christmas is coming. It's coming.
No, I think Christmas is here.
Well, I mean, hopefully for all. In these difficult times, I think everyone is still trying to carve out their Christmas season, as best they can. I guess, it's hard not to maybe look to some extent, as much as you don't want to be heavy, to look at the challenges of the Christmas season, especially since it seems as though we're getting reports from some retailers that, shoppers they have to choose in some respects, do we buy gifts, or do we buy things to spruce up the house, or do we buy food? And
I can tell you what they bought. They are buying food.
They're buying food.
I was in the grocery last night. I went 9 p.m. thinking, well, it's 9 p.m. My husband warned me. He said, let's go 10 o'clock. I said, no, 9 is fine. Oh, my goodness. The extra parking that they had was overflowing.
And I guess right now, one could question, the best thing to do maybe is to try to get there as they open. But even then, I find, relatively early in the morning. And even in the malls, even in one of the malls, which was a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday, right? So we're not that far away from Christmas. It is Sunday, a free day to do shopping. It was dead, empty. Like I had my pick of parking lots. And then it wasn't long before now, weekday mornings, jam-packed. And I not that I see that much more people inside the mall, so I'm kind of like, ooh, where's everybody? But
is it that a surplus of cars on the roads?
What's so amazing is that for the last couple of days, we've noticed that Track Route Road is actually the quietest we've recalled for quite some time. It's been absolutely like kind of silent on Track Route Road. But I will agree with you though, because up to last weekend, I thought the traffic or the foot traffic that we're accustomed to around this time of year was, incredibly low compared to what we've previously known. But within the last couple of days, at various points throughout TNT, the groceries have been packed, the malls have been packed, and even the traffic in some areas, I mean, yes, it usually has traffic, but the traffic has built up. Even leaving Port of Spain, school is closed. I left Port of Spain probably 3 days this week, between 4 and 5. I was so much traffic to get home. It's like, I thought school is closed. Where's everybody? But you realize, people are shopping. People are getting their last minute because Christmas bonuses hit the accounts if you're lucky enough to get Christmas bonus,
Is it that now that the teachers have gotten their back pay and everybody, most public servants would have gotten their early December salaries? Is it that we're now shopping, so there's hope for retailers yet?
It could be that. There's also, as I mentioned before the break, food cards are coming out as well for the MPs to be distributed. So that's where the grocery surge could also be a contribution from, as compared to, say, last week or the week before. But it leads me to an interesting question, though, right? Because I had a conversation last week with regards to maybe the spirit of the holidays kind of being lost a little bit. And one of the things is when you're faced with challenges, right? Income challenges, purchasing power of your salary challenges. You might actually think, hey, maybe I need to skip out on some things or modify what we're doing this year. Maybe we can't have as much as we had last year, whether it's presents, whether it is fixing up the house, whether it's the food. What aspects of do you think really is necessary for a Trini Christmas to really enjoy it? Do we need to paint the house? Right? Do we need to call the neighbor for the brush? Do we need the bread and ham together with a pastel?
I didn't paint my house, so I don't paint your house. But I feel like ham is integral, except if you don't eat ham. I feel like most Trinis would feel how if they didn't have some ham for Christmas.
No, I'm being honest with you. If you could afford a pastel now, that's really good.
Oh my goodness.
Look, pastels if you don't make pastels yourself...
At some point, when you had pastels, it's because you made it,
no,
right?
Hold on, Sean Michael Small. If it is, you can... If you don't... because a lot of people are busy and working, and I have to admit, it's the same thing with us here. So we actually try to order pastels, but... just like everything else, the price of pastels has gone up extraordinarily. And it's smaller. It's bite-sized pastels you get to know.
I actually put out a post on Facebook asking my friends to please direct me to affordable pastels. And somebody directed me to one of a larger chain store bakery as affordable. And their prices, I think, were $20 for one, depending on how much you buy, and it could go down as low as $19. And I'm like, how is this affordable? One pastel.
And what is surprising me is I think it's a new phenomenon where you're seeing, well, because when I was younger, we didn't buy pastels. You know, my mom made pastels, right? And because of that, I have a bias to her pastels over other pastels. But now more and more, there are more people commercially selling pastels, making pastels in bulk. So it's something to be said. We can complain about the price all we want, but somebody apparently is buying these things at $20 a pop.
Not me. And thankfully, my mother, I wanted those pastels for a work event. I was inquiring on behalf of someone else, but I'm thankful to God that my mother has given me my Christmas pastels. So I don't have to make it.
I actually, to be honest with you, because I absolutely love pastels. And the thing is with pastels, you can keep it in your freezer throughout the year. It's going to last you, right? But yeah, I've made pastels before, and it actually could be a bit of a tedious process. It's absolutely fun to make, but it could really take some time and get you very exhausted. However, our Christmas pastels in WSN, well, we have to give credit to Sarah Ali. She's the girl who she reads news for News on the Hour, and she's also my sister down here in Prime. And she made some really good pastels for us this year. So kudos to you, Sarah, for that, boy. You really brought some Christmas into WSN.
Hold on. So now the question comes up, because I think to some extent pastels are a personal thing. So now I want to know, what constitutes as a good pastel to you? Because I'll say this, my mom has learned a few tricks with regards to her style of pastels, some of which with regards to the prep, some of which what she actually uses for the ingredients.
I could tell you what is not a good pastel, and that's corned beef pastels.
Corned beef pastels?
Right? Corned beef pastels. Listen,
what pastel?
That was a huge thing last year.
No, I didn't hear you. What is it?
Corned beef pastels. I remember it was a big thing last year.
I have never heard of that before.
And then possibly
that happened last year?
And the thing is, understand this, right? People say corned beef is a poor man's food. You know how much about a tin of corned beef now?
Corned beef is now expensive.
I've never heard of
There is a needed of cheese pastels. And I am one part intrigued and one part perturbed.
A cheese pastel.
Cheese, yeah.
I agree with you. I am at one part intrigued because corn and cheese does go together. However, I think at that point it's not a pastel, right? Let's just say what it is. It is something else. It might be good, but it's not a pastel. One of the directors is saying lentil peas pastel. I actually think that might be more in line with what a pastel should be than cheese.
I've had that as a vegetarian option, lentil peas, and sometimes they mix the lentil peas with bhaji.
Right, yes. I actually would like to have that.
We're forgetting one thing of which used to be common. It's not as common now. You remember crabbacks? We used to have a pastel and a crabback. And
pastel in a crab.
No, with a crabback. With. On your plate, you have a pastel and a crab. If you're having a crabback pastel, please let me know where I could get that, because I would like to try that. But I don't see crabbacks as much as I used to.
Actually, think about it. You take the same filling for a crabback, right? And you put it in a pastel instead. That might be okay. That might actually, a crab fill pastel might actually
No, there are fish pastels and salmon pastels. But for me personally, I'm going to stick to my traditional chicken or beef.
So I have a question. I assume the meat in your pastels are minced, right? Have you ever had like a chicken mince pastel and a fish mince pastel and a beef mince pastel? Because one year, my mom, she made various meats for whatever reason, and we had a guest in the house, and he pointed out the fact that, look, when you get the texture of the meat to that same level, at some point you can't tell the difference between what is chicken and what is beef or what is fish.
You could tell the difference.
You could tell the difference? Janelle, can you tell the difference?
I had a chicken pasta last night. I don't know if it was minced, to be honest. I don't know if it makes a difference whether it's minced or not. So it tastes good.
So the next thing I do have to ask, and this might be controversial to some, maybe not to the two of you. No, I want to know, because I have had some friends that have had my mother's pastels and they didn't like it because there were too much raisins in the pastels. So are y'all, because they're the best, are y'all raisin lovers in pastels?
Yes.
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I've had pastels that...
You see, Janelle, you're a lady of culture. I appreciate you. Keaton, you're on the fence. You know what is the right answer.
It depends, because I've had some pastels that tasted really good with raisins, and I've had some pastels which, oh God, nah, raisin don't belong in this. I mean, it honestly depends. I'm neither here or there. I love flipping pastels, and I don't mind olives in my pastels. I ain't too keen on capers in my pastels, or they will fight me down on that. You know?
I don't mind the capers either. But I say that, you see, so usually when I get somebody else's pastel, there's these small black raisins in the pastels. And the pastels are kind of small and the texture of the corn, whatever. My mother puts nice, plump, big raisins, right? So you get a good burst of sweetness in the midst of the heavily seasoned meat, which I love.
Is Auntie Peggy selling pastels anymore?
No, I don't even, she hasn't even been in this year.
Guys, we have been on these pastas. I do not even know how we got here. I think it's because Sean.
All right, fine. Let me change it up a bit.
Really and truly, I think coming back to the challenges and whether or not the material deficiencies you may have, does it really affect the spirit? For those, I think, who are Christians, whether you have money or don't have money, this Christ is the reason for the season. And if you focus on that, you will have the Christmas spirit. If you focus on the fact that want to save us, you may not, how do I explain it? Because I'm a Christian and I must admit this year I'm not feeling the way I felt some years ago, a particular sense of excitement. I'm not feeling the excitement, but when I take it away from that emotional level to a more mental level where I focus on what the reason for the season is, then I can't help but feel joy and appreciate what our Lord has done for us. But if you're talking about, if you're not religious, and you just celebrated, what is a Trini Christmas from a non-religious aspect? What is essential? As I said, I would say ham is essential, but what I think is key is really the mingling and meeting with your family and friends. I feel like no matter what I have, whatever little I have, once I'm sharing with my family and friends, I feel that is the essence of a Trini Christmas Day.
So to add to that, I too have not felt the excitement with Christmas, associated with Christmas for quite a number of years. I mean, I really used to look forward to Christmas, and I don't know what has changed so much. Sometimes with the job and the pressure, sometimes all that is on your mind, it really kind of consumes you. But I'll be honest with you, not to be unkind, but our little debates about pastels, our debates about paint and ham or whatnot, kind of was making me feel happy, and I like those conversations because you're absolutely right. You see, for me personally, what I've learned is, if you're not a religious person and you're just celebrating Christmas because of the festivities associated with Christmas, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, I think there comes a point where people just really need to humble themselves and really enjoy it with one another. And there's some people out there who just like to be by themselves and enjoy it by themselves. Nothing is wrong with that. But I think if it is that we as Trinbagonians could just celebrate it with one another, and there's some level of camaraderie with Christmas. I see people, just singing parang and walking on the street and singing, and I'm like, that's so good to see. That's so nice to see. I see people just wishing you randomly a Merry Christmas, and so to me, those little aspects of when you feel that there is a bit of lightness and positivity all around you, that really puts a smile on your face, boy.
I do wonder if it's been a unique last 4 years. One thing is COVID suppressed Christmas to some extent for 2 or 3 of those years. And now we have the economic issues post-recovery, right? Basically, that's just compounding everything. So on one hand, I do wonder if, maybe people are reluctant because we're so accustomed to celebrating at a certain level, to having a certain amount of things and foods, and now even cheap foods. At the end of the day, the ingredients for a pastel shouldn't be that expensive, right? What really is expensive, where it comes in, is the work to make it. But now,
ingredients are expensive.
But now, yeah, things are kind of getting to poor man's food now, not so much for the poor anymore. What is left to be considered a poor man's food? But then also there's the fact that perhaps the traditions might have lost a little bit of momentum, so to speak, over the course of COVID.
Talking about traditions. My sister went to Parang in Parminan. I think they have 2 events. There's a free one, if you want to put it that way, and a paid one. She went to the free one. And it was, when I look at her from her videos, jam-packed. which brought me joy because I'm seeing a lot of people more and more say they don't like parang, but to see that the parang in Parliament is still alive, that's one of those sort of traditional things
Well,
that
that's become like every Christmas. Some families have to do that because if they don't do that, it's not Christmas for them. And honestly speaking, guys, with everything that is happening, I think we're going through a period where, yes, it's difficult now, but you're going to see history repeating itself. You see that tradition of where, you know, you see what we're accustomed to and everything that we're accustomed to, maybe everything has simmered down. No, I feel very soon, maybe this Christmas you're going to see it more, and you're going to see it more next year and the year after that. Neighbors coming together, the whole village coming together, and everybody just bringing something and enjoying Christmas Day together. I actually was in the airport, I think last week, Friday, and I just met two gentlemen. He was waiting on his son coming in from Florida. And we were sitting on in the airport talking, and I asked him, I said, you know, what are you all doing for Christmas Day? He said, boy, the whole village going to come out and we're going to cook. The whole village going to come together and we're going to cook. And to me, that sounded like a perfect Christmas. That sounded right there, everybody was coming together. And you're going to see that this year, and you're going to see it happening more and more. And I am looking forward to that. History has a funny way of repeating itself. And it's happening with the world now. You're seeing all this fighting taking place. And it's going to take place for a number of years. It is going to happen for a number of years. But then you're going to see some level of unity happening. Some form of world peace. You're going to see it happening. You have to be patient. And then it's just a cycle. We've been through this how many times as mankind and humanity. Christmas is just a time of year of which we can reflect. And we have the opportunity, if we are lucky and fortunate enough to share it with one another, because bear in mind, there are families across this world who have separated from one another, who are not going to be spending Christmas with each other, who don't even know what Christmas is. That's happening, it's happening. So bear in mind, we are still very lucky down here as Trinis and Trinbagonians.
Yeah. And as I say that, and I know we will end on a positive note, but there's something I think people also forget. There's some people who are grieving during Christmas. For example, they may have lost a family member, either very close to this Christmas coming up, or they would have lost a family member during Christmas. And I think, you know, if we can remember such people, if you can remember anybody who would have lost somebody around Christmas, and it's normally a dark time for them, if you reach out and call, I know we are very much in a texting age, send a meme or whatever, but like just take the time to pick up the phone and just say hello. That person may not even realize how much that would impact them until later on as well. So yes, let's keep in mind those who Christmas is challenging, not only from a material perspective, but from an emotional perspective.
And I do find that necessity often breeds, you know, new ways of doing things or new approaches or just a change in behavior. And I am hopeful that, you know, Christmas is a time when perhaps mentalities or our focus, our priorities could maybe be reset. I'm sure, of course, again, the challenges are gonna hit people hard, right? Relatively speaking, you know, and potentially across multiple economic brackets. It's not just poor people who might be suffering. It could be also people in the middle class or various that now they face challenges that are new to them, right? And the consequences might actually be quite stark. We don't know. But the flip side is that whole coming together, because we had a couple of years where we couldn't, right? And then, of course, the money situation now makes it difficult. But perhaps when the money situation is difficult, now we just pool everything together as a larger group. The village comes together, and then the traditions of gatherings, of community, of giving could kind of be reset. We could figure it out. We could start afresh. Because I am concerned that, you know, we know Christmas is a time of giving, and you know, do we always kind of try to practice that? And it doesn't have to be money, as you pointed out. It could also be giving of your time and emotional support.
I would say that tradition of giving hasn't died, though, not from where I sit, because in my neighborhood, it's a fairly new neighborhood in Cunupia, we started last year having a Christmas village, and in addition to that, this year we pooled there was a call for those to bring donations, and we made hampers, which we gave out to 2 primary schools near where I live. I was also a part of a senior citizens dinner and a children's treat. And Singing with the Marionettes, we have a free concert for individuals as well. So I have been a part of many different giving. I have a friend also yearly. She picks a school and she organizes gifts for, of course, a small schools, small village schools. I told her I couldn't assist her this year because I had the 2 other initiatives I was a part of. But there will always be, I feel confident that there will always be people in Trinidad who are going to be organizing events for children, hampers, and the giving spirit has not died.
Guys, I'm going to be I'm going to be a bit honest with you guys this morning. This year has been difficult for everybody. It really has been. And it's going to get a lot more difficult. Let's just be honest with each other. But for me personally, a lot of the reason for, I guess, the happiness in the midst of all the stress and all the pressures, and I'm very fortunate enough. Yes, my family is absolutely loving and supportive, and I'm lucky enough where I could always count on my family, and people don't necessarily have that. But I think it is incredible that the colleagues that I have here in WSN, who I really don't consider colleagues anymore, I consider them family. You know, from Sean Michael Small, who really knows how to stress you out at times, but he is genuine. Sean Michael Small is genuine. I think that's the perfect way to describe him. To Ryan Gomez Burke, who knows how to stress everybody out all the time, but there's only one. And to the Rastaman, I think just everybody. Janelle John Bates. I mean, look at the year we've had. Janelle has been on the show. She started earlier this year, I think. In February. And look at the journey we've had. It went from not knowing this individual to forming a friendship. And I think that's what we're fortunate enough. You know, some workplaces, their colleagues always fighting and they don't talk to each other and they don't get along or whatnot. And I think we're lucky here that at WSN, we've created a family. And that in itself, guys, has really pushed us through this year. It really has.
I will say this, it's not like we don't fight. I think it's how we resolve the fights. And it also got me thinking, and I think I was watching a show where this came up, some show that I was watching, that doesn't matter, but the point is, even now, when there's a time where maybe people have less, now is actually when you see truly people who are giving, because it's one thing to give $100 when you have $1 million. But when you only have $100 and you give $20, that's a lot. That's a lot more. And it's actually heartwarming, Janelle, to hear all of what you're involved in, because I know that it's not as though, you yourself have just been swimming in all of this success and you have no idea what to do with all of the millions that you're raking in and you just have money to burn, right?
No.
and I'm sure there are a lot of people, I mean, I try in my own way to give what I've had, not just in Christmas, right? But of course, at Christmas time, there's something almost special about, trying to allow people to enjoy something of the holidays, and giving has a little bit of an extra meaning. And I just want to point that out. Now is the time where we could really see, if somebody gives you even a little bit now, just understand how much more that might actually mean than the so much extra things you got maybe in previous years. The meaning behind it now, let's share even what little we have with each other, is something that is a foundational piece that could help, build society from that foundation, that human charity and human love and care, that perhaps I fear we may have lost in other aspects, so we see the consequences of losing a little bit in other aspects of society. And we need more of this to, like I said, to kind of reset things and hopefully get certain aspects of our society back on track.
Have a content capital Christmas,
folks. I guess we'll end it there. If I mean, hopefully our Christmas traditions can live on, or new traditions could spring forth As life moves on, and we're not always going to remain the same, you know, whether family or friends, community, schools. But at the end of the day, we're all Trinbagonians, and we all should do our part to make Christmas merry for each other. 'Tis the season.
Before we go, I would like to wish you guys and all our viewers a very Merry Christmas. And if I don't see you all before January, a very happy, bright, and abundant in all ways 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, Talking Point will resume after this.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
It comes naturally to us. Unstoppable energy. We use it to manifest a future. A future where energy takes new forms and is used in new ways for all of us. The new age of energy is here.
Let the home store turn your house into a home you love. We offer household items, lawn and garden, paint center, hardware, plumbing, lighting and electrical, toys and storage solutions. And just for you this Christmas, come check us out for great gift ideas and all your Christmas decorations.
6 convenient locations: 6th Avenue Barataria, The Falls at West Mall, Pennywise Plaza Chaguanas, C3 Center Branch, Christmas Store at C3 San Fernando, and Eastgate Mall, Trin City.
Check out our Facebook page for more information and come visit us today. The Home Store. Turn your house into a home you love.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Talking Point, ladies and gentlemen. Now is the time we open up the phone lines. Last chance before Christmas. Ladies and gentlemen, come and speak with us. Share with us your Christmas traditions. What are you doing this Christmas? Maybe you have something new planned. Maybe you've met new people. You've moved house. You have a new community. Maybe you have young children who are getting, I don't know, new milestones because, hey, you know what's better than Christmas as a 3-year-old? Christmas as a 4-year-old.
Listen,
all right.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, simple question I'm going to ask you. What is Christmas to you? What does Christmas mean to you, and what is essential to your Christmas? You can call in Yes, coiling. What is going on? Coiling. What's coiling?
Well, that's when you had the old rotary phones, remember? So you turn them like a
coil
coil.
in, right,
Yeah, you coil in.
So you can coil in to talking point.
Let us know if you have an old rotary phone. I missed that thing, you know. That was kind of cool.
And you can, well, I'll tell you what, let's take this call from Dabity. Good morning, caller from Dabity.
Very pleasant morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Mr. Blackman. Season's greetings to you.
How are you doing? Many happy returns, Sean. We missed you, we missed you, we missed you. And I just want to say, throughout the year, I've had a wonderful program with you all. I got to know you all, and I think that the country is doing a little better. In my little community in Mosika here, I did a lot of things with respect to, just like what you were talking about, coming together. I did a little treat for the children and them, and maybe the CPAP and one or two other things in the community, and things are really, really quiet. What I want to urge people, though, is to be very vigilant.
Yes, of course.
Just as how we are planning to buy groceries and things, there are people out there planning to rob you.
Yeah.
Be vigilant. Look out when you're driving in at night. Look at who's driving behind you and that sort of thing. So, guys, all the best to you and everybody at the station. Love you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blackman. We love you too, and we thank you very much for your kindness and your support and your contributions to Talking Point. Have
You are
a Merry
most
Christmas.
welcome. You all are great.
You too, sir. Have a very good Christmas. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the phone lines are open. You can call in. And again, I like that. Look at Mr. Blackman calling and sharing some good news with us, man, some positivity. We need that. We need that. And as I said, I think I agree with him. I saw a lot more camaraderie this Christmas time.
Really?
I really did. No, I did.
I mean, I don't go that much, so.
No, I really did. I know every year people wait for Christmas to do charity. And I'm hoping that we get into this mindset. You don't have to wait for Christmas to do charity. You can do it throughout the year. But I think I saw a lot more people coming together and really trying to make it a happy Christmas.
I think part of it too is that charity throughout the year, at times that could be to help someone survive. And survival is important, don't get me wrong, but charity at Christmas also includes a certain joy about it. And even if it's just enough for someone to survive, the whole idea that, listen, it's Christmas time, it's nice to know that someone is going to think about me, is concerned about me, is going to try to help me, you know, it just adds a little cherry on top to the whole situation when you receive something, even if it's what you need, even if it's not necessarily anything special, but in the moment, that moment is special.
Good morning and season's greetings to this caller from Arima.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Keaton, I feel your co-host got it wrong this morning in his analysis with the police, social and welfare.
Oh, Lord. Okay, let me hear it. Let me hear it.
Go for it.
Now, it starts with independence and micromanagement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what is social and welfare, in my view, what they see it is that the Prime Minister, through the National Security Council, he and the National Security Minister dictating the pace to the Police Commissioner. Yeah, and they're really looking too good. No wonder we having no crime talks. no wonder the former president didn't put herself back up for re-election after she sit down there and see what happened with the list.
Ah, boy.
Everything coming to manifest itself now. You gotta look at it from that vantage point, because let us say one of those two gentlemen did something wrong. Who is there to arrest them if they control the police? Have a good Christmas, gentlemen.
Caller, have a very Merry Christmas to you. Wishing you all the best. Good morning, caller from Tunapuna. Season's greetings. Hello.
Caller, you on here?
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Hello, good morning to Keaton
Hi,
and
good
Sean.
morning. Season's greetings.
Yeah. I'm calling in to wish everybody, the staff and the both of you and everyone, a very Merry Christmas, a happy one, and a prosperous 2024 and all the years to come. I wish that we have a safer, as coming into the new year, that everyone will be safe, and things should turn around on the positive way. And I would like to see more progress in our country, more people, more oriented people, that everyone should be happy. Because if we have happiness around, we wouldn't have negatives like crimes and whatnot.
Yes.
Everyone should have a happy life.
Absolutely.
And no one should be left out when it comes to sharing this happiness. And may the good Lord Jesus Christ, who was born on Christmas Day, that he will put a hand and protect us. I wish everyone to be safe, happy, and to be healthy. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
caller,
caller.
for an absolutely wonderful message. I mean, you just brought some happiness with your kind words alone. That's a good way to start sharing some joy and happiness. Caller, God bless you and your family, and we hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and we look forward to hearing from you in 2024.
And Caller Terima, you're quite right. You're quite right. Shame on me for not bringing up that context, because at the end of the day, I think it is valid. The perception of the situation has to be colored by that context. So you're quite right. Now, it might be that it's not necessarily as bad as it looks, but you're right, it does look bad. And we can't, this is the consequence of that previous action. There's no real way to escape it, unfortunately. I still, however, let me put it this way. I still wish that everybody would communicate better, right? And not just do it in a way that it looks as though they're trying to get the correct angle to make the correct spin, right? But to be fair, that includes the government on this situation. And I think it was Darius Figueroa who, did you have him on the show this morning?
I did have him this morning.
And that was one of the things that on AM Prime, and he did have that concern, I believe, published in the press, that this could just be a political song and dance to kind of cover up things. I mean, no one wants to hear about this stuff during Christmas. We want to hear about positivity, so I'll leave that there. We can't necessarily escape from it all the time, but hopefully, over the course of the next weekend, we'll get a little bit of a reprieve and a little bit of an escape, really. As much as we can't, we should not try to cut ourselves off from what's happening in the country. And just be allowed to enjoy the next couple of days. We have Clarkson Bay on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Sean. Morning, Keaton.
Morning, Mr. Fisherman. Good morning.
Morning to the listening public. I mean, all I could wish is the best for the New Year's and Christmas. But you're watching things that go on in Gaza and even these little children, anything Christmas, like I know Christmas for me.
Mm-hmm.
Watching what these and the ball in Israel is the Holy Land. What they're doing to these young youths and this baby who not born and all these kind of things. It's put tears in your eye.
Yes.
So that might take on Christmas right now.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you very much, caller. Merry Christmas to you and to your family. And you know what? Caller,
It
is a very difficult situation and a very difficult pill to swallow. I have to tell you, it is. I don't know if it's angering me, if it's frustrating me, if it's breaking my heart. I really don't know the emotions to express with what's going on there.
The irony is there's so many things, both at home and abroad, besides that anger me. It's almost like if I don't have much anger left to have for that. But I will say that he's right. It's every now and then I do find it difficult to enjoy the moment, because I know that while I am having supposedly an enjoyable moment, there are people around the world who are not. And on a statistical level, that's just always happening. But of course, it's not just an assumption I'm going to make on average, some tragedies happening around the world. We're seeing things. We're seeing tragedies happening. This is not the only war. There's another war in Eastern Europe, and then there's violence in Africa and other places around the world as well. And it's hard to enjoy life when you know that they have people who probably right now in this moment are struggling to survive or have not survived whatever they're going through. But I guess on some level, we just have to treat with that on an individual level. There's literally nothing that I could say to recommend what is the right thing to do. I don't think there's a right thing with regards to that. It is just what we could manage in the moment, and hopefully not forget the hard lessons learned from these moments.
Good morning, caller from Orima.
Good morning. How you doing? Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to everybody. I just want to say our country is not in such a bad shape. Okay, but we have to move forward, obviously. I think very well that the main reason is, you see all the kids selling drugs on the blocks. When I drive by, I see them sitting there all day. All right, they have to make some money, but you have to bring them in and develop them. So you have to bring the Constitution and take them off the streets for about a year and train them. It sounds simplistic, and it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
But we are getting there. They blame the cops for everything, but yes, we need more drones. We need to get different cars, police cars. We need more electronic surveillance of our citizens, which is a constitutional question. But overall, we are moving in that direction. The government doesn't show the different things it has accomplished. That's why when shows like you have people that criticize, nobody is able to see a contrast because the government doesn't put out the accomplishments it has made in the last few years. And that's part of the problem. And let me also say one thing. As far as crime is controlled, if you don't have jobs and reform in the prison, you see how that university, the University of the West Indies is? That's how your prisons should be. That is how your prisons should be. Because you have to train people when they come out to have some kind of housing to go to and some kind of skills. But if you put 3 people in a cell with no running water, no toilet and all that, and you expect them to come out to be good, total nonsense. All right, total nonsense. All right?
Thank you,
and therefore
caller.
we have to develop these intricate little strategies. It will take some time. It takes 5 to 7 years to get crime under control. Reprimand is a dumb thing. Where you go in remand for 10, 30 years, it is a definitely brutal crime. When you put people in jail and they have no access to have a fast and speedy trial. But we do have a problem with DNA testing and all the things you do before you come to court to prove that the person does that. And that is an important part. So both sides and all different aspects still need to be more organized and more developed. I have much more to say, but I can't think right now because, my God, I just had a good beer and I'm enjoying Christmas.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Nice.
Have a good Christmas, caller. Thank you for your contribution. I hope to hear from you in 2024. Good morning, caller from Tunapuna.
Good morning. Good morning, Sean. Merry Christmas to both of you and to the entire WSN staff.
Good morning, caller.
Thank you.
Are you having a content capital Christmas?
Christmas season. Everybody wants to enjoy even a long weekend, whether you are religious or not. Everybody just wants to enjoy themselves. And charity tends to begin at home. We can't always have charity give to the poor and forget that people who play their loud, obnoxious music, people who let out fireworks are disturbing others, are disturbing their neighbors, are disturbing the community. And they don't seem to understand that charity begins at home. You cannot only be selfish and enjoy yourself. Everyone wants to enjoy this weekend. So just a point I wanted to raise.
That's a fair point, caller.
It's a good point, caller.
a fair point. Yes, a good point.
And this is where I said earlier on. Thank you very much, caller. Merry Christmas to you, and we look forward to hearing more from you in 2024. Have a good one. But it's a good point because earlier on in the program, I made a comment that we have to kind of humble ourselves. We kind of have to live with each other and be more neighborly and love each other. And I understand where the call is coming from because noise pollution has affected me as well. So, folks, we all want to have a good time. We all want to be merry and joyful and whatnot. But, as I said, we have to live for each other. We have to live together. Don't be selfish. Consider one another and don't consider just yourself.
So here's a recommendation. If you want to play loud music, perhaps you should speak to your neighbors to find out, what might bother them, what possibly they might be willing to accept. And if you're the neighbor that has loud music being played by somebody else, maybe you should communicate. Don't just completely clamp down on, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Try to compromise a little bit, That's one of the aspects of community, coming together. And it might be that, hey, I'm not a loud parang music lover on Christmas morning, But maybe, you know, if I communicate with my neighbors, we could come to a healthy compromise where they could, you know, enjoy themselves, and maybe there might be others in the community who also enjoy it. So, you know, let's try and work things out and not just be hard and fast, you know, it must be this way or that. But for those who want to play the music, you know, I think you have a responsibility to try to engage and not just assume, oh, it's Christmas, I could crank the volume to 11 and who don't like it, don't like it. No. Because it's not just your space. So you have to make the effort if you want to do it, to come together to try to figure it out.
Guys, let's spread some positivity and cheer. I've loved the callers thus far. I've loved the contributions. I've loved the messages. We have 8 minutes left, and callers call in and join Talking Point this morning.
Mr. Pettivali, I know that there was a time in the last couple of weeks where you couldn't get through, and we haven't heard from you since, so call in. I want to hear from you before Christmas. And Miss Santa Cruz, I don't know if you have any good news. Now, I think the second caller for Rima, I just want to...
I just want to quickly add to what you're saying. Mr. Pettivali, how could you not call me for Christmas? Your good friend. Oh gosh, man. Come now, Mr. Pettivali. I am waiting to hear from you. It has been very long. And there's a caller as well from St. Anne's who's been calling in and making some very, very good points. Call in and wish me a Merry Christmas now. Go make my day.
San Fernando, Professor Diego Martin, we haven't forgotten you too. Right, not just Mr. Diego Martin, Mrs. Diego Martin as well. Second caller from Rima. It's an interesting point that you make with the government having stuff done and it's not getting out there. And I just like to point out that they do publish things. It's just what is the medium or the media that they use to do the publishing, and perhaps maybe that's why it's not as effective. And it is kind of sad that the government's accomplishments actually kind of get lost in the cynicism, so to speak, of our country and the cynicism of our politics, I think. You know, the whole your government working for you is almost like a meme. I'm not too sure if everybody takes it seriously, because even if you disagree with someone politically, that doesn't mean that everything they do is bad. So I'll appreciate the fact that, yes, it is not all doom and gloom, but when you look at the results overall, there are some concerns.
All right, let's take a call on the line with us. Good morning, caller. Season's greetings and welcome to Talking Point. I'll give you a grand introduction, man. Come on.
Caller, you're on the air. Don't listen to the TV. Listen to your phone. You're on the air.
Hello. All right. Caller, we just lost somebody on the line. Call back in, please. Yes, Sean is absolutely correct in what he's saying. He is actually correct. So we have a call on the line with us from Vaisabad. Good morning, caller.
Oh, we
lost we lose that one too.
I think, I know you want to follow the show while waiting on the call, so your TV will be up. But you need to pay attention and then mute your TV once you go live, because there's a little bit of a delay, and also it could be confusing if you're trying to listen to your phone and the TV at the same time with the delay.
I think I'm getting somewhere. Good morning, caller from St. Anne's.
Yes.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
New Year. And Keaton, that hat is ridiculous.
Boy, what you could do?
Apparently, not much. But I just want to call to say something I said yesterday to Sean. I want to say to you as well. What you guys do is pretty unique in Trinidad and Tobago in terms of broadcast journalism. It is not typical. And even though I don't agree with everything you say, I appreciate the fact that you all exist, because it is so rare. And the fact that it's handled by two young men who are up and coming in their own right, I really feel this program gives a lot of people hope in terms of what is possible in this place, where it seems to be either, as one of your callers says, it's either mustard or tomato ketchup. And it's so nice to have a show that explores all avenues. And I just want to wish the two of you, your show, your station, the best for the season and, of course, for the new year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, caller. Now, though you may have, in the words of Sean Michael Small, poo-pooed on my hat, that's okay, man. That's okay.
It's Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, my friend. And, no, you're right. Listen, I appreciate every single call. It turns into some hot, heavy debate sometimes. But that is exactly why I appreciate callers, because we are all different. We may disagree, but we know how to communicate on a healthy basis.
I just like to say quick,
that is beautiful.
I just like to say quick, the credit isn't completely all on us. It's also the people behind us and the station and even the bosses of the station who support what we do
Santa Cruz,
and how we do it.
St. Anne's, you may think my hat is ridiculous. What about the tie?
What about the tie? It's even more ridiculous.
What about the tie?
He has you there.
Can you get the whole tie?
It's a hell of a thing when the hat is not the most ridiculous thing that he's wearing. We have Santa Cruz on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was going about my business and I hear Sean call my name. Merry Christmas, you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Compliments of the season to you and the team at WESN and your families. And I just want to give a shout out to those who have lost loved ones. This is my third Christmas without my mom, so I'm still trying to get around the Christmas season. But I've also lost a few friends, 1, 2, back to back. And these are friends, so their families are in a tizzy. So love to people that I know, those that I don't know, but people who have lost close ones, may you find strength and comfort from those around you. And for the government of Trinidad and Tobago, I pray that for Christmas, you all get vision with a desire to operate in excellence for the good and benefit of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, whatever form that may take. And I dare say, please begin with creating sidewalks for people to walk on the sidewalk instead of in the road. All right? That to me would be the first step in showing that we do care, that you do care about the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But above all, spread love, spread joy. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Santa Cruz. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Miss Santa Cruz. Good hearing from you. Listen, we're going to take one more call. I know it's 9:29. We have to lock off just now, but we're going to take one more call this morning on AM Prime. And who's going to be that lucky caller? I wonder who's going to be that lucky caller.
It happened, folks. It happened. This is AM Prime, and I'm Keaton Shaw. Folks, a Christmas joke, a little humor from my co-host there. But, you know, he's right. One more call, just one more call. You know, we'll just go a little bit over. We don't want to talk too much of the doom and gloom this morning. You know, this is the long Christmas weekend. You know, just had a laugh, courtesy of my friend. If you could call in, quick, Mr. Putivali. Mr. Putivali, I know usually now you don't have much luck, but we're waiting on you. Come now, man, we want you to call in. Keaton boy, one more call on the AM Prime.
It's been so long. It's been so long. It's been so long. I was waiting for next week to share it, but I suppose I can give Sean an early Christmas present. And that is, I shall be on Talking Point starting from January, at least 3 days a week. We've put things in place.
We've put things in place.
So I will be on this program at least 3 days a week starting from January. I know it was on and off for the past couple of months, and but I miss this show, and I miss all the callers, and I feel every time I come on and I hear from the callers and their points, I'm like, boy, oh boy, I miss it. Are we going to get one more call this morning? You think we're going to get one more call this morning?
I don't know. I mean, I'm grateful. There were some callers who are new to me, or at least who are not regulars, so I'm very grateful for you. Of course, You know, some like Miss Santa Cruz doesn't always call in, but she's called in quite a bit, and it's good to hear from our callers. You know, just to catch up and to hear how you're going. Best wishes to the professor and to Mr. Diego Martin. You know, we always are glad to hear from you, you know, to see if you're in good health or not. And we hope you are for the Christmas and that you're enjoying the Christmas. And of course, all of the others, Mr. San Fernando, Mr. Pitivali, and many others who, you know, don't come to mind right now. Right? Oh, singing points. Oldie from the past. That's a long time ago, boy. That's a long time ago, singing point. You know, and of course there are a lot of Mr. Maraval. Of course, you know, how could we forget Mr. Cascade, Mr. Blanchishes, Mr. Porter Spain, Mr. Woodbrook. So, folks, I mean, want to thank everybody, I guess, who's been with us on this journey. It's been, what, 3 years now? This is the third Christmas?
Yeah, Talking Point has, WSN has been here for 3 years. And
Talking Point, not necessarily 3 years yet.
2.5 years.
No, come, I think March it'll be 3. Come March it'll be 3.
So whatever the case may be, I guess we're not going to get the last call. That's absolutely fine. Sean, I am proposing we end with a song of a content capital.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course, right, yeah.
I meant together.
Okay, let's do it, let's do it.
Right? So, folks, on behalf of Sean Michael Small, Keaton Shaw, AM Prime, and Talking Point, and WESN Content Capital, we wish you a very Merry Christmas. And though I must admit, I can't sing too well.
But then, did you sing the song? I don't know the lyrics that well, you know. Did you sing
it? I wrote it. You sang it.
You wrote it?
I wrote it. You sang it. Shall we?
I don't know, you know.
Have a content capital Christmas. It's the best time of the year. Now I know we have no snow, but Christmas is still here. Oh, the mistletoe.
Oh, wait.
Hung for all to see.
The Christmas shows.
Movie classics wait for you, and a local content for free. Have a content capital Christmas. And in case you didn't hear, oh my jolly, have a content capital Christmas this year.